This is DearMamaSal on a rainy, not serious, but just rainy Monday morning. It's 6 degrees here in British Columbia, southern British Columbia, which would translate through to 42 in American. And I mean it. I'm not used to having to wait. There we go. I think it's going to be an interesting week. Most weeks are interesting, if you choose them to be, I guess. But I've sort of got the last full week before I go on vacation, and now it's a case of, all right, what have I forgotten? I've started the process of packing, and it's interesting because during the broadcast this weekend, I was showing the viewers how, you know, I'm rolling things up and putting them into Ziploc bags, and quite a few people said, why would you do that? And other people saying, gosh, I always put mine down flat. Well, you know, I used to always put mine in flat as well. And when you talk to people who travel a lot and do so there are two things that you notice. One is the clothes they take with them, and the other is the way in which they pack those clothes. All right, let me try and get some sense around that. If you look at people who travel a lot, the first thing they work on is a color coordination. In other words, they take things with them where everything can be worn with everything else. You know, the skirt can be worn with the blouse, it can be worn with the top, it can be worn with, you know, fancy shoes or flat shoes, whatever. What they do is they make sure everything mingles. And the reason for that is you get so many more outfits for the same number of clothes. And so I've really worked at doing that. And it's hopefully going to work for me. I'll let you know when I get back. But it really is something that you can do quite easily without spending an awful lot of money. And what you need to let go of is what I call the extremes. And if you can, you look at everything and go, does it have a double purpose? For example, I worked out that my cover-up for my swimsuit also will act as a housecoat. Because when I put it over my sleepwear, it just looks fine. You know, I'm not sort of sitting around bearing things. You know what I mean. So anyway, so that's the other thing that I was really careful of, is why do I want to take this with me? And I think my biggest challenge, of course, is going to be makeup, especially as we're all going to be doing makeup type stuff. So I might give it extra space to makeup on this trip, just because I know we're going to have a lot of fun doing that if we get the chance. I'm beginning to hear that the schedule's beginning to fill up. And we're already talking about going to another show maybe, and that means we probably will. And so I know that there's going to be more and more of that type of stuff going on. And my challenge will be, how do I either do everything, or how do I not do everything and not feel that I've missed out because of it. It's going to be a real catch-22 for me. But I'm also aware of the fact that we have, for decades of age groups, you know, we've got somebody in their 30s, somebody in their 40s, somebody in their 50s, somebody in their 60s. And so, obviously, everything that we do won't please everybody, I guess. And some people will have a lot more energy for things than maybe I will. And that, I have to let go of that and know that's okay. That there's part of me that really worries a bit about that. Anyway, we'll see how I do. I thought it was really kind. Sam wrote to me this morning. And Sam, thank you. I always enjoy your comments. But Sam wrote to me and she said to me, you know, be very aware, and I thought it was a wonderful bit of wisdom, be very aware that a vacation is stressful on the body. And to give yourself time to recover from it when you get back. And I thought that was a brilliant piece of advice. You know, they say that good things are as stressful as bad things. So very, very happy things like weddings and engagement parties and stuff like that can put the same amount of stress, or very close to the same amount of stress on the body, as something really devastating, like a death in the family or something. And so the trick is to be aware. And Sam, I really thank you for that, because had you not mentioned it, I might not have remembered that. And that I do need to pace myself while I'm there, and I do need to make sure I pace myself when I get back. Now, as some of you are aware, we had great fun on the broadcast on Friday night, because Benji and Judy came and visited, and I probably mentioned it on another bit of video, but it was really nice to have them come visit, and they were so sad because they had realized that that's the one broadcast we do that has a password on it, and so their viewers couldn't join in as well. So anyway, it was really great to see them both, and I always love it when they pop in like that and just give a bit of time. And the unbelievable news was, of course, that they were getting everything lined up for VidCon. And so I was like a kid with a new toy. The kid in me was just going overboard. It was just so exciting. And as I have never been to VidCon, I have no idea what it's about. They go, you know, it's just like, I don't really mind. And then they told me we're going to go to Disneyland as well. And so this is going to be awesome fun, I hope. I cannot imagine the joy of going to Disneyland with children. And especially with Juliana, you can imagine. So I am really, really looking forward to that. I mean, what fun will that be? For the big kid in me. I do understand, though, of course, that Disneyland is about lineups, and I don't do lineups well at my age, but neither do children, so we'll have to just do the best we can. I wanted to talk about something that came to my attention this morning. When I was watching the news this morning, two things. Number one was a 21-year-old who's just won the Masters golf tournament. 21. Second youngest in the world to do it. Second in history to do it. Tiger Woods, I believe, was the youngest. But 21-year-olds to win a major international event like that. Now, you know, there are golfers that have that as their dream, and the same as you will have hockey players who dream of playing and winning the Stanley Cup. Yay! And the Canucks got into the playoff rounds. I'm very happy about that. But you know, you look at it, you talk about NFLers getting into the Super Bowl. You know, those are what I call lifelong dreams for any athlete. You know, for a tennis player, it's Wimbledon, and then here's this 21-year-old, and he wins the Masters. Doesn't qualify, wins that aren't there. And he was delightfully humble about it, which I thought was really beautiful. But I thought what was really cute, was how much he talked about his mum. And, you know, we forget about that. All the hours and sacrifices that the parents have made to make sure that this young man got the support he needed to equal his talent. And that's always a problem, I think, for parents, which is, you know, how do you know how talented this child is and how much money to throw behind it? However, obviously this one has worked out. And yet in the same breath, almost in the next news clip, suddenly there was breaking news. And a 20-year-old has just shot somebody, I think in North Carolina, on a campus. And he's at large, and you know, when I left home he was still at large. So you go, gosh, roughly the same age, two completely different outcomes. And then in the same news broadcast, the Boston bombing kid that just got found guilty on all 30 counts, his mother saying what a great job her sons did and they're not guilty. We the Americans, I'm not American, but you know, that she was saying that the Americans were guilty of, you know, not her sons. And you go, gosh, what chance did this child have if that was his upbringing? And so I looked at the three, I mean, they're all in their 20s, the three young men. One wins the Masters, and two of them are murderers. And I couldn't help hoping and praying, literally, in that moment, that those were not the odds, you know, because that would be a very sad reality. And you look at it and you go, gosh, what is it that takes one child and puts them on a path to win the Masters, and another child, and it says it's okay to go around murdering people? And I can't help thinking that as much as we say that you can't talk to teenagers, and I know we say that, you know, you can't talk to teenagers, they don't want to talk to adults anymore. But maybe you can find somebody that they can talk to. You know, if you, the parents, have lost communication with your teenager, then for goodness sake, find somebody they can talk to, so that they don't get this disenfranchised and create this sort of a sadness. And I believe it really is the responsibility of parents. If they can't get to their child in terms of discussion, that they find somebody who can. And then there was the mother this morning, who dangled her child over a cheetah enclosure and dropped it by accident. Luckily the child wasn't seriously hurt, but wow. So you look at all these things and you go, weird. For those of you who remember Michael Jackson hanging his child out of a hotel room window for the press to see, I think we all sucked a very large breath at that moment. So is there something really that we need to look at in society and just say, what happened to our parenting skills? And is it because we are so busy working or whatever that we don't have time? That we don't have time for proper parenting anymore. And yet, as fast as I say that, I know there are incredible parents who are working and looking after their children and doing an awesome job. So I like to believe it is the exception, not the rule. But boy, I found that really quite head-shakingly strange this morning. And I went, wow, 3 young men, all in their 20s. And is that an issue as well? Why is it always 3 young men? Oh no, you're going to say it isn't always. No, that's true, it isn't. So I think part of our job, even for those of us who are of grandparent age or of parent age, but maybe your children have moved out of the house, I think you guys know, I believe very strongly in being that extra person a young person can talk to. That's what I do all the time. And I mean, today I will go into work and I won't have my young person there after 3 weeks of working with him. But what I said to him, my parting words for him, for as long as I breathe air, if ever I can help you, to make the call. Because I never ever wanted him to feel that he didn't have an extra person that he could talk to. And I think that's something we need to give to young people. So I would challenge all of us to look around and see, where is there a young person that you think might be in need of an extra parent. I'm not saying that the parents are doing a bad job, but where do you see one that, might be as more talented than his parents can cope with? I can always remember many, many years ago when I was still in my early 30s, I think, I met a young man who was pretty close to genius level, and his parents were anything but. And how on earth was this kid managing to cope? And he wasn't. And he resented his parents for being stupid. And literally that's how he felt about it. He couldn't talk to them about anything because their intellect was insufficient for his brain. Now you imagine, that sounds quite rude, but it also was quite true. And so the challenge was to get this young man into, and by the way, imagine how bored he was at school. Not because he was lazy, just because it was going at a speed that was way too slow for him. And so what we did was we got him tested and proven to be of that caliber, and then got him into a high IQ school, a path that dealt with kids with extraordinarily high IQ. And so that they challenged him at very different levels. And guess what? The playing out behavior at home stopped, because he was so challenged at school that by the time he got home and done his homework, he was pretty darn tired. And he appreciated his parents a lot more because he wasn't constantly trying to get his intellectual stimulation from them. And I wonder as well, you know, you look at that, the price of fame at a young age, this 21-year-old who just won the Masters, you know how much money will be bestowed upon him. And suddenly he's gone from rags to riches, but now the temptation is to spend the money. And I'm pretty sure the parents will be encouraging him not to do that. Just put it away, because you don't know how long this career of yours is going to last. And so then you've got the ego issues and the but it's my money, I earned it issues. So there's going to be difficulty. Now, the young man can have had that discussion already, and I'd like to think if he was destined to do that, he will have read enough about biographies of famous people who wasted their money early on and then regretted it later. Very, very difficult. I know a lot of you are saying, bring me that problem. And so my thought for the day is, let's befriend somebody, if you can. Sort of look in your sphere of influence. Is there anybody who you've met, anybody that you see? And even if you don't do it on a long-term basis, maybe it's somebody who packs the groceries at your supermarket that needs an extra smile or an extra bit of appreciation. Go looking for people that you can cheer up today. This is Dear Mama Sal saying bye-bye for now.